I guess we could probably officially get going here. And I just want to raise my hands and thanks to all of you for joining us today for this session um, of our online learning series here at First Peoples Cultural Council. This is an ongoing thing. This is our third year in providing this learning series, and we're doing it online this year. So as many of you know, First People Cultural Council is a grant funding agency plus. We provide grant funds, as many of you know, but we also provide supports and information resource and expertise in language, arts, and heritage revitalization. We're located here. Our main office is located just outside Victoria in Brentwood Bay. We're in transition at the moment, but you'll be hearing about that sometime shortly. But anyway, so in terms of moving forward, we're pleased today to present to you a session called Mapping the Moment, a visioning journey. And we're going to be um, spending our time with Carlene August, another planning coach that works here at First Peoples. But before I really get introducing her, I just want to do a little bit of housekeeping. Um, excuse me. So as many of you can look on the bottom of your screen, there is the little icons that direct you. You'll see that there's a reactions icon for either raising your hand or maybe you have something that you agree with that you heard. So use that if you will, to raise your hand or again agree or whatnot, whatever the symbol is. Also, um, you'll notice there's a Q&A icon. And so what we're going to do is we will leave the chat open during the presentation, but we're going to leave it open just for clarification of something that you may have heard or you didn't hear and you want clarification on it. So use the chat for that. But during the presentation, if there's a question that does arise on something that Carlene has mentioned and you want to question that, well, that's what the Q&A is for. And we've left a fair amount of time at the end of the presentation for you to um, have that dialogue around your questions. So put your questions around the presentation in the Q&A section, and we'll get to those at the end of the presentation. Um, as I mentioned, maybe at the beginning when I first came on, and you realize now, there is no cameras available for the participants, and you're also muted. Our wonderful Amber, who is our support today, she'll be the behind the scenes tech person who will be controlling all the levers and buttons and knobs to keep things going smoothly. So she can open up or unmute you if that's called for. Um, and so there's probably a few other things that I'll mention along the way, but without further ado, I would like to introduce Stamat, Carlene August, who is a fellow coach and good friend, colleague of mine. So thank you and welcome, Carlene.
Night native, Anthos Demott, Tanitsanov Kwatsin, Night Squirrel, good day everyone. My traditional name is Stamot. My English name is Carlene August. I come from the Kwatsin territory. I'm one of the revitalization planning coaches. I work alongside Glenn Jim and Maggie May Adams. You might see us in language and heritage as well. I'm really excited to be here with you. Thank you for making the time to join us. I'm looking forward to mapping your artist journey and um, sharing a little bit more about your artist background and all of that good stuff. So Heichka, thank you, Glenn. Thank you, Amber, for supporting this webinar. And yeah, we'll get started. Okay. Perfect. So before we begin, I want to thank everyone for being here and bringing in your creative energy. We're doing a visioning activity, something often used in language revitalization, but we're adapting it for our journey as artists. In language work, we use visioning to help communities imagine the future they want for their language, to dream beyond what exists right now, and as artists, we can do the same. This session is about visioning, an activity that helps us reflect on where we've come from, where we are now, and where we want to go as artists. Before we jump in, let's take a moment to understand the landscape we are creating in. Think about what's around us, our community, the supports we have, and the challenges we face as artists. What shapes your creativity? Is it stories? Is it teachings? Is it experiences? Just like language, our art doesn't exist in isolation. It is connected to places, people, and purpose. As we move into the visioning activity, this is your time to imagine the future, your creative journey, your growth, and your impact. You can draw and map your ideas. You can illustrate what inspired you to begin your artistic journey. What do you want your art to say to the world? What would it look like if your artistic dreams came true? What what and who are you creating it with? Um, what do you need to get there? We want you to take your time. This is about dreaming big and setting direction for yourself. As we wrap up visioning, we will take a few moments to look forward. What themes or feelings came up for you? What's one small step you could take toward your vision? Would it be this week? Would it be this month? Would it be this year? Remember, this process is ongoing. Our vision can change as we grow. The important part is to keep returning to it, like checking the tide before launching your canoe, just to make sure that you're still on course. You might already recognize our revitalization planning coaches. Not only do we support language revitalization, you'll see us actively supported in arts and heritage programs all across BC, supported both individuals and organizations in all areas of cultural revitalization for BC First Nations communities. Today, our focus is art. We're so excited to share this space with you today. Let's start with a quick poll question to set the tone. Go ahead and scan the QR code to answer the question. Oh, you might not get a QR code, but you will get a little pop-up to answer the question. The question is, what is the traditional role of a musician or artist? There's no right or wrong answer. Just share what comes to mind. We'll give everybody a moment to enter that in. And we just want you to know that your response will help us see how each perspective shapes the role of art within community. It'll help set the stage for today's conversation. I'm not too sure if I can answer. No, I can't. Okay, awesome. Once everybody's done entering in the answer. Um, we can maybe get Amber to share the results.
Yeah, for sure. I see 18 folks have entered. So I don't know if you want to have a time limit for folks or not.
We'll give another minute.
They must be still thinking, must have lots of
Yeah,
good answers.
yeah.
There hasn't been much movement in the last little bit, so I could end
Okay.
it now if that works for you.
Yeah, sure. Amazing. A lot of really great answers. Storyteller, stories, traditional stories, culture, Sharon. I see Teresa added, pass on the knowledge, families. Awesome. Thank you everyone for sharing. This really helps get us into that mindset of thinking about tradition and culture and the importance of it, and gives us our purpose of the how and the why. Amazing. Thank you everyone. I will share this PowerPoint again. Perfect. So here are some of the common themes. All three themes work together when we make our own choices. It's self-determination. When we plan wisely, it's strategic orientation. When we live in our teachings, it's cultural mobilization. We build a strong and thriving future for our people using these themes. And I just want to thank you folks for continuing to add on the traditional purposes. I see the comments popping up. It's wonderful, Heichka. Thank you. So we'll take a look at framework from a cultural context. As a Hulkaminum speaking person from Coetzin, when we speak about our cultural framework, we start with Natsamat. We are all one. This teaching reminds us that everything we do is connected. Our languages carry our worldview and teachings. Our art expresses those teachings through creativity and story. Our heritage grounds us in where we come from and who we are as people. Natamat as our foundation means we don't separate from those areas. We work together. When one grows stronger, they all do. It's all about balance, unity, and collective responsibility. Our lawn house stands strong because each post carries meaning and responsibility. In the same way, our framework is upheld by 4 guide and house posts. Self-determination is making our own choices and leading within. Strategic orientation, it's planning our path forward with purpose and our values. It's grounding our work in respect, humility, and not samot. cultural mobilization. It's putting our teachings into practice and action. Together, these posts uphold our lawn house, just as language, art, and heritage hold up who we are. Through Natsamat, we remember every story, every teaching, every creation is connected, each one keeping our cultural house in balance and alive. So we'll take a look at a framework for planning. In a standard approach, planning often focuses on tasks, timelines, and outputs. It is structured, goal driven, and usually follows a linear process. Whereas a holistic approach, we look at the bigger picture, such as relationships, culture, and values, and community well being. It connects the heart, mind, and spirit in the planning process. Both have value, but today we'll explore how a holistic approach better reflects our ways of working and thinking as artists. When we talk about sustainability, we're not just talking about keeping something alive. We're talking about creating the conditions we thrive. A holistic approach sees art, language, and heritage as interconnected. One cannot be sustained without the other. Each carries knowledge, relationships, and identity. There is difference between revitalization and reclamation. Revitalization brings energy back to something still living, while reclamation is about taking back what was taken or silenced, restoring ownership and meaning. As Wesley Leonard reminds us, sustainability isn't about avoiding extinction, it's about continuance of life through active practice, creativity, and community use. Our work as artists, speakers, and knowledge keepers ensures that these practices remain living systems, evolving, adapting, and carried forward. We're going to ask everyone to do a quick brainstorm. If you want to just jump on the poll, you'll see a little pop-up on your window. We're asking everyone to think about as many artists that you can think of that have achieved popularity, fame, fortune, and have become known because they brought back or revived an indigenous art form. And then think about how and why they do it. Some artists that you might know of already: Bill Reed, Francis Horn, Simon Charlie. Those are a few folks that I could think of at the top of my head. And just remembering traditional artists builds respect, grounding, and purpose, reminding us that what we do today stands on their shoulders, and so forth. Yeah, so we'll just give everybody a few more seconds to add in your little brainstorm. We won't spend too much time on this. It's just helping us to think of artists in the past, maybe how they inspire us today.
Amber, just a quick question. So when participants click submit, will they be allowed to add a number of names if they know a number of names, or will they just have the one opportunity? Can you?
Yeah, great question. I think with this form, it's just you have to put as many as you can in at one go.
In one
Yeah,
go? Okay,
yeah, the good clarification. Thanks.
thank you.
One
So
is
if
fine.
Yeah.
One is fine.
Okay.
Awesome. And if you want to maybe share the results, Amber, we have a few entered in now. Awesome. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to think of these artists. They have all, um, oh, awesome. Trevor Angus from Gitsan. Awesome. Thank you for sharing these artists' names and all of that great stuff. Really appreciate everyone getting into that space with us to think of traditional artists and, um, putting us all on that traditional art journey. Okay, so we'll share a little bit about a previous artist. His name is Mike Charette. Um, tell you a little bit more about him and how it fits into today. So have you ever felt unsure where your art is taking you or how to get there? This art activity is more than just a creative exercise. It's a visual roadmap of your personal journey. You begin to see where you've been, what shaped you, and where your dreams are leading you. Through this process, you create a piece of art that becomes a living guide, something you can return to whenever you need direction or inspiration. It's not about perfection, it's about reflection, purpose, and clarity. Take a look at this artist who embraced this process. He started by mapping his journey, sketching the moments that mattered, the challenges that tested him, and the visions that inspired him. Step by step, his map guided him toward his dream to perform at the Port Theatre in Nanaimo. Today, that dream is no longer just an idea on paper, it's his reality. This is what mapping activity can do for you. It can help you recognize your creative milestones. It'll help you clarify your goals and future direction. It'll strengthen your confidence in your artistic purpose. It'll help remind you that every brushstroke, every song, every carving, it all has meaning. When you map your artist journey, you don't just create art, you create the pathway to your next dream. I also invite you to join the webinar on November 26th. Mike Charette will be a guest speaker on this day, so if you want to hear from this artist and how he's doing today, feel free to register for the November 26th webinar. So we're gonna switch into the visioning activity. I just want to remind everyone that um, when we ask you to draw your community from a bird's eye view, that it doesn't have to be your home community. It can be the community that you're currently in and working with right now, or where your community network is. So just keep that in mind. Within this community or within this activity, we hope that you'll find some inspiration to visualize a sustainable future for the work that you do. So I'm gonna give folks about a minute to grab supplies needed, but if you don't have access to different colors, you can use symbols, stars, hearts. So if you just have a pen, you can use those symbols to work with the activity that we're doing today. And so we'll just give everyone a little bit of time to grab your supplies. Okay, so with this visual representation, it shows ways in which art exists in a landscape. So we'll get you to start drawing your community territory, your community network, your current place. Start creating that landscape from a bird's eye view. You can include roads, homes, businesses, administration buildings, and other structures. And then if the area of the community is too large of an area, then just take the key or main area of the community. So we'll give everyone a few more um, seconds to just grab what you need, and then I'm gonna set the timer. And then I think Glenn wants to
I want to say something. I
talk,
want to say
so
something. Yeah.
make sure you grab your papers and your pens, your supplies, while Glenn's having a few
Okay.
words.
Okay. So, in addition to what Carlene was just mentioning in terms of how you're going to create your map, I know looking at some of the participants, some of you live in urban areas. You don't live in your home community. So if you do live in, say, Victoria, Vancouver, some large urban setting, and your map can be just that region, maybe you don't have to put in every street block and everything else. That maybe just some focal points, some specific places. Like if you're a musician and the recording studios there, and maybe part of your bandmates might be in another area of so you can map it out that way. Or again, as an artist, maybe the printing, or maybe your mentor, or those individuals or businesses that are within your realm of within the urban setting. You can do it that way as well. This is a bit of a challenging exercise at times if you don't live in community, but again, we're looking for key points that um, surround you as an artist in whatever form that looks like. Okay, that's all I need to say. Thank you.
Awesome. So thank you, Glenn, for sharing that. So I just want to remind everyone that this isn't about perfection. Um, this is, you can see the image on the screen. It can just be really simple. Um, yeah, and we just want you to kind of map out the landscape in that you're involved with that applies to you today. So I set the timer for 2 minutes. So go ahead and start drawing if you haven't started already. Doesn't have to be as perfect as what you see on the screen. That is all animated. I wish I can draw that nicely.
But remember, we do have artists, so I'm assuming that can create something just as beautiful.
So you'll want to include roads, homes, businesses, maybe your band office or friendship center, any of the key main areas of your community and your networks. So about 1 more minute. So once you're done doing your landscape, time's up. We'll move into step 2. We want you to shade in the places where you see art, music represented within a community context. So you can shade in those areas. What it might look like. All the places that you know where art and music is happening, where it's accessible, where you can put it into practice or you know it's in practice. Awesome. So we'll move into step 3. You'll want to start partially shading in the places where you have learned, taught, created, played, shared music or art. Partially shade in those places that you've accessed. Once you're done doing your partially shaded in areas, we'll get you to start circling the places you would like to be a part of, where you fit in this space. What does reclamation look like for you? We'll give you about a minute for that. Awesome. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to think about your landscape, what you're working in, um, thinking about your journey and then where you want to land, where you want to see reclamation happen, and the places that you want to be a part of. Um, it could be circling in nature, where you're ensuring that your practice is bringing you to nature when you're doing your art or music, connecting yourself to the land. It could be connecting yourself to community by joining a friendship center or in community somewhere, anything like that. And think back, to the previous artist who's used this, where his dream was to play at the Port Theatre in Nanaimo, which is now his current reality. So think about those things um, and how you'll get there, and maybe just take an inventory of where you've been will really help. Not realizing all of the things that you do as artists and musicians. Um, it really, once you take a really good look at your journey and, everywhere you've been, you'll realize, oh my gosh, I didn't realize I've invested so much. So yeah, thank you, Heichka, everyone, for bringing your pen to paper and using it as your map and your guide. And maybe you can go back to it and start adding to it after we're done. And, it's something that we want you to visualize and keep a part of you for your journey for the future. Heichka. So we're going to give a few moments for sharing back. It might not be about your whole journey or anything like that. Maybe it's something that really jumped out at you or inspired you, your key takeaways, or maybe it helped you realize where you want to put your art into practice. So yeah, we'll give folks a few moments to have a little bit of dialogue around that. This is where our amazing Amber will um, give us give us access to sharing with one another. There's a little raise hand feature that you can use to raise your hand if you'd like to share back with us, or maybe you just want to share in the chat. Either one is welcome.
The beauty of these maps, as Carlene had alluded to, is they are literally they can be roadmaps for activities, actions that you need to see as you're moving forward in your practice, whatever that looks like as an artist. And again, they're living documents. Next year you may find something challenged you, so you have to change your roadmap, and maybe you've had to add something extra. Maybe there's some courses, maybe there's some individuals that you need to see, and so you can add to these. And again, in the business world, you would call that a strategic plan or a business plan. Well, this roadmap, this drawing, is a characterization of what's going on in your practice as an artist in whatever form that looks like. So, keep this on hand. I know one of our participants, Arlene, she did a language roadmap for herself years ago in a presentation that we did, and she still talks about this still being part of her guide, 6 years later. So again, this activity definitely can um, help you solidify some of those things that you need to do and to take care of your practice, whatever that looks like. So maybe later on, maybe tomorrow, you might find, oh, I forgot to put this on. And again, keep it alive, keep adding to it. And again, it's a living document, and you can change and um, fit it so that it keeps you on your toes, so to speak. Thank you.
I see William Sandy shared. Thank you. Every house, every road, every tree, every open space, every river, every plant, every animal contain art and music. It's about where life itself expresses it. Music and art are interwoven with daily life, ceremony, environment, and spirit. It reflects a worldview where everything has a spirit and a voice. Very beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Really appreciate that. And it's so true. It is everywhere. And I always feel very connected in to, to my territory, to my surroundings when I know it supports my artistic views in a big way because it um, all are woven and interconnected. It's so true in every which way. Definitely. Is there anybody else who wants to share maybe something that has inspired them or maybe something that just jumped out? It doesn't necessarily have to be about your journey or your mapping activity that you just finished doing. It could be just a question, um, anything like that. We won't spend too much time on sharing back. I have a little bit more to share. We're going to share our coach's email at the end as well. So if something jumps out at you after this webinar, then you'll have you'll have our emails and all that great stuff linked into the chat as well. So Joanne, thank you, Joanne, for sharing. Gather and bark is seasonal, and in the bush, so is hunting for skins, for hides and drums. Lots of trees on my picture. Awesome. Yeah, it's very seasonal and a lot of planning and preparation. Hunting, very seasonal, yes. Awesome. Love it. Maybe if you want to take a photo of your map and or your vision activity that you created and email it to us, feel free to do that as well. We'll give chance for that. I would love to see all the trees in in your your mapping activity, Joanne. Awesome. Okay, well, thank you everyone for sharing. We're going to start looking forward. What is the path forward? We're going to start looking at monitoring and evaluation and how it allows for reassessing and renewing the plan in an objective and structured way. How do you know you have achieved what you set out to do? Part of implementing a plan is to monitor the progress, keep track of activities, setbacks, successes, and keep notes, set benchmarks to measure against in 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, and be willing to reassess what you're doing and make changes if it isn't working. Um, know where you're at and why. Sometimes things change, and that's okay. This is why we say planning is a continuous process. Understand where our resistance comes from. Um, this will provide some information of where you might want to take modifications. It'll help you be clear about your goals and outcomes. Are we achieving what we said we would? Are our actions doing what we expected them to do? How can we make it better? So, success within cultural revitalization, it can be individualistic, varied, evolving, often small, leading toward growth. Not an endpoint, but a process. A multi-generational process, never reaching a final endpoint. It helps you find successes in little or big ways. So we invite you to reach out to the coaches if you have any further dialogue questions or responses about today or the art program or any of the language programs or heritage programs. Please feel free to reach out to the coaches, check out our website. There's information on us there. All of that great stuff. We would love to hear from you and connect with you and support you on your journey if you need any guidance along the way. We're definitely here to answer any questions. So this is our program. Um, it's our This is our program strategies, and we also want to share that First Peoples has developed technology to support the needs of language learners, artists, and communities. These innovative technologies are recognized as global best practices. First Peoples firstvoices.com is First Peoples Cultural Council's online language archive and website, which hosts 38 archives of BC First Nations languages and dialects. First Voices has apps and tools to support language, documentation, and learning. First Peoples Language Map and Arts Map are interactive online tools that promote First Nations languages and Indigenous artists in BC. So take a look at those sites. You'll see a really neat interactive map. I love going to it anytime I go to another community. Um, it's very interactive. So is the First Voices. So if you've used First Voices, it'll be very interactive and very interesting to learn from. So also take a look at our language planning kits. If you're doing language, we have a lot of amazing supportive resources that are there. Everything is on our website. Yeah, so thank you everyone for taking the time to do visioning with us and a little bit of brainstorming. Really enjoy spending time with artists and musicians. It's just something that I really love and appreciate doing. I come from a family of artists and canoe builders, so um, this is this is my jam. I really love being here and hearing from all of you. So I'm just grateful that you made the time to create a resource that you'll be able to use in the future. So, Heichka.